Dr. James Stirrett here. Today, I want to talk to you about Retatrutide, the 5 tips that I'm seeing clinically to really help speed up weight loss and get you the best results possible in a safe way, whether you're on Retatrutide, tirzepatide, semaglutide. Let's jump into it. Where we're at right now is this gym bro science era of GLP-1 usage, and I really just wanted to caution you guys to be safe with this. Just because your primary care doctor or your medical doctor that you have may not be 100% behind GLP-1s yet, or especially like microdosing in that space, it doesn't mean that there are not people out there that can help walk you through this. Health professionals like myself, functional medicine doctors, people that can walk alongside you and monitor your progress, whether you're getting it from a shady source or legitimate, where you're getting it from Lilly or compounded. So my first point here is, guys, is that these medications are absolutely 100% necessary. I think they're a godsend, but they're still a tool, and they're a tool that needs to be managed with a level of respect. So number one is don't go about this alone. Find somebody that can actively walk through this with you and make sure that you're not hurting yourself or doing more harm than good to your body, because these are serious interventions. That leads me straight into point number 2. And this is that when we're treating our body, when we're treating these medications with a level of respect, we really do need to make sure that we're monitoring our blood work and having a control of where we're starting versus where we're going, having a clear picture. This means at the bare minimum, checking a baseline blood sugar, so hemoglobin A1C, 3-month average blood sugar, fasting insulin, fasting glucose. These are just basic tests that need to be done periodically so you can see your results on paper and not just gauge all of your results based off of what you're seeing on the scale. Same goes for inflammation. So high sensitivity C-reactive protein, or HSCRP, great marker for inflammation. Sedimentation rate, or SED rate, that's another amazing test that you can see how inflamed you are. Now, conventionally, if you look at these tests, their ranges are huge. So someone can be very, very inflamed, and the test won't tell you anything's wrong, unfortunately. So it is nice to look at this through a functional medicine lens to be able to say, hey, you're probably not losing weight right now because you're inflamed. You got so much inflammation kicking around. Let's do something to address this inflammation. Maybe that dosage of Retatrutide is going to be more efficient in your body at your current dosage if we can just take care of some of this inflammation. Taking it one step further, why did we gain the weight to begin with? Was it the inflammation? Was it that your hormones got completely out of whack in andropause or menopause? Andropause is just kind of like menopause for guys, where our testosterone dumps and goes down. And with women, they lose estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And next thing you know, most women will start to gain weight. They get the menopausal bloat, they get inflamed, and they start to gain weight. This is where we step in with patients and we help make corrections safely, give people options to correct these things so that when you do lose the weight on Retatrutide or tirzepatide, whichever way you're going to go, you're able to maintain it long term without this gigantic risk of it just roaring back if you come off the medication. At the very least, taking a look at estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, full thyroid panel, making sure not to just check a TSH or a thyroid stimulating hormone, because that doesn't tell you anything. Most doctors only check that, and then they'll tell patients that their thyroid's normal, and their T3 or their active hormone, there isn't any there. But that's what determines your metabolic rate. And so now you're in this position where you feel like your Retatrutide's not working, but really it was just your thyroid that was underperforming. And we need to figure out why. That's the question mark. You want to put the question mark there and answer that question. Is it a nutrition problem? Is it inflammation? Is it an autoimmune disease? Or is it just simply you're not getting the nutrients that you need in order for your body to have proper thyroid function and conversion? So step number 1, don't do it alone. Step number 2, make sure if you're going to do this with a health professional that you're digging in, you're checking the labs, you're checking your progress. So the scale isn't the only factor. It's not the only measure of success. My third tip for you here is that microdosing is truly your best friend. I would not follow the standard dosage escalation. If you look at the standard escalation for Retatrutide that they're using in the research, they're working people up in a monthly fashion, much like they did with tirzepatide, Zepbound, or Mounjaro. So very similar. And I believe this strategy is too much, too soon. First, when I pull up the Retatrutide dosage guide, they're starting people at 2 milligrams, very similar to the 2.5 milligram for tirzepatide. For many people, this is already too much medication. I would typically have a patient start closer to 1 milligram of this med and still adopt a microdosing protocol where we're having them inject more than once a week, so usually every 4 to 5 days. Most patients don't need to work up past 4 milligrams. You can see that by week 9, they already have you on 8, week 12, or week 13, they've got you on 12 milligrams. This is going to follow the same side effect profile. At some point here, probably around 4 milligrams to 8 milligrams, you're going to get diminishing returns, in my opinion. You're going to get severe appetite suppression. You're going to get a heightened side effect profile, which, just for your information, Retatrutide does have a little bit more of a ramped up side effect profile because it does contain glucagon, and it's just a little bit more intense. So the digestive symptoms can be a little bit more intense. There's some weird little like zips and zaps and neurological things that can happen for people. I've seen a lot of people discontinue the medication because of that. But a lot of it, in my opinion, was dosage dependent. And what you're seeing here is this escalation. It is receptor overwhelm. It's not that the medication was a bad fit necessarily. It's usually just that it was just way too much of the medication, and it was more than what was needed in order for somebody to burn visceral fat. Usually if we step back and we take a look at the labs, there's usually other reasons why somebody wasn't losing weight. We do not need to always just jump to the next dosage because somebody stalls out. So if this is you, if you're currently stalled on Retatrutide or any other GLP-1, just remember to look deeper. And if you need a doctor, if you want to work one-to-one with a functional medicine professional, you can apply to work with us down below. Okay, or find somebody that knows their stuff and can help point you in the right direction and show you why you're not losing weight. What I wanted to pull up here, the side effects, 43% of people reported nausea. Many people felt like this was debilitating during the clinical trials. 35% of people, severe diarrhea. 21, so 2 out of 10 people, vomiting. And if we look at the discontinuation within this clinical trial, 2 in 10, guys, 20%. In medicine, that is what we call beyond a level of statistical significance. If you have a therapy that 2 out of 10 people have to quit, I would question that therapy entirely. So if in order to lose 30% of your body weight at this maximum dosage, you have to experience all these side effects. Like, it seems like it's a fairly high likelihood chance that you're going to develop at least one of these side effects, and a 20% chance that you're going to have to quit the medication, that we need to rethink how we're taking this medication, and we need to take it seriously. I don't mean to be a jerk, but I don't think bro science is going to cut it here. I think we need to develop stronger protocols and a stronger standard for the level of care that we're offering our patients. And I think our primary care doctors need to educate themselves and wake up that these medications aren't going anywhere. And we need to learn, and we need to recognize the utility of using these drugs at a lower dosage to help speed up people's weight loss without doing severe damage like you're seeing in this chart. Now, with side effects, I think digestive side effects are the number one reason why we will see people stall, whether it's tirzepatide, retatrutide, semaglutide, it doesn't matter. Constipation and diarrhea are very prevalent. So with retatrutide specifically, diarrhea tends to be a bigger thing, but we need you to be able to digest your food in a way that doesn't cause a bunch of inflammation. Whether it's diarrhea or it's constipation, this can really disrupt weight loss. Because if your body's constantly inflamed and trying to deal with this, digestive turmoil, your body's not going to be in a restorative state where your body's focused on burning fat and getting rid of fat, flushing toxins from your body. Avoiding these side effects, number one, we want to make sure that we are either microdosing or we're using the lowest effective dosage of the medication. 2, we have to take care of our gut. So when I think of gut health, I think of 3 big rocks, 3 big things for you to focus on for a healthy bowel movement. One is soluble fiber. Now, when people are told to eat healthy and take retatrutide, a lot of times there's a lot of intermittent fasting, high protein, high fat, low carb type of a situation going on, either keto or carnivore. A lot of that is tied in culturally from what I'm seeing. Problem with those specific diets is that digestive turmoil or constipation or diarrhea can be a problem. So fiber or soluble fiber, it will be your best friend, whether it's psyllium husk or other forms of GLP-1 specific soluble fiber. I am a huge fan of just taking a tablespoon of psyllium husk fiber, mixing it up, shooting it down 1 to 2 times per day, especially if you're constipated. 2 is going to be the amount of water that you're taking in. You have to drink enough water. And I would say When we're working with GLP-1 patients across the board, I would say like at least 60-70% of people, they're not drinking nearly enough water to be able to process this medication efficiently. Remember, it's not just about going to the bathroom. It's about flushing toxins out of your body. As those fat cells break down, you're recirculating toxins, and you need water to flush your lymphatics. So we need movement and we need water to flush things out. But this is also going to be what keeps your digestive system in order. And then 3, I really like a broad spectrum, like a really good quality probiotic. I see some patients using Seed, which I think may be one of the better commercially available ones, but still not the best. I tend to go with higher pharmaceutical level brands, but it's better than nothing. Tip number 5 for you guys: diet is everything. Movement is important. Diet is essential. On Retatrutide or any other GLP-1, you need to make sure that the diet that you're eating is an anti-inflammatory diet. What exactly do I mean by anti-inflammatory? What I'm talking about here is you know your body. When you eat specific foods that don't agree with you, when you get gas, bloating, indigestion, heartburn, stomach pain, constipation, diarrhea, when you get any of those things and you can tie it back to a certain food or meal, these are foods that you need to be avoiding likely in your life. Doesn't mean you need to cut them out entirely, but in order to lose weight, we can't be eating the things that hurt us because those things are promoting inflammation. And even on a GLP-1, if you continue to eat an inflammatory diet, meaning that your body's not breaking down the food well, it's sitting in there too long, and it's causing chaos. That is a recipe to not lose weight on a GLP-1. So anything that causes heartburn, gas, bloating, maybe it's milk, maybe it's beans, maybe it's whatever for you, I would cut those things out of your diet while you are working on trying to lose weight. And just remember, what's inflammatory for you might not be inflammatory for the next person. So we don't want to overly criminalize certain foods, but you want to pay very close attention to what your body's telling you after you eat. If you're following these 5 principles, you're going to stand a much, much higher chance of success, not just losing the weight on the GLP-1 or the Retatrutide, but keeping it off long term. If you're wanting a doctor to run your labs, find out what's holding you back in your weight loss, what the root cause of your weight gain was to begin with, what to do about it, how to dose your GLP-1, and then nutritionally how to walk things out and do so in a structured plan with accountability, please apply in the link below to work with our team. We'd be happy to chat and see if working together is a good fit. Otherwise, guys, I hope you like this video. If you found it valuable, please hit the thumbs up button for us. Give us a like, give us a comment. It means a lot. If you're on Retatrutide, I'd love to know what your experience is. Let us know in the comments down below. Successes, horrors, questions, and we'll try to get those answered for you. YouTube's pretty smart. It's recommending this video up here for you. Otherwise, guys, take care. See you next week. God bless.